Can you even hear that? There's a diesel truck in the background, and I sat down in this beautiful little coffee shop. Turn the camera around so you can see. And as soon as I went to film, this truck pulled up maybe 15 minutes ago, and it just sat there with its engine running the whole time. And I got into my overthinking, saying, this is going to interrupt the whole video, I'm not going to be able to do it. And then I realised this is why I need to do the video regardless, because it is time to stop wasting your life and stop allowing all of these external influences to prevent you from your potential. My favourite question, and I mean this, has been, if I get out of my own way, what is my potential in life? In 30 days, 90, 365 days, what can I achieve if I just drop all the bullshit? That truck in the background, you probably can't even hear. And it's only the bullshit in my own mind that's saying, oh, I can't film because there's a truck in the background. We've got to move past this. And that's what today's video is about. The best way to share this is through a story that I always remind myself of when I get an analysis paralysis. And the story goes that there was a professor and he was teaching media. And to his class, his students, he said, I'm going to put you into two groups. And group number one, you are going to produce the best movie that anybody's ever seen for the whole semester. You're going to create one movie and we're all going to watch it at the end of the semester. And they were buzzing and excited because they had the whole semester to create this jaw-dropping movie. The second group were given a different set of rules. They had to produce a movie every single week for the whole semester. And as you can imagine, the second group were pretty pissed off. They thought, why have we got to produce a movie every single week while the other group of students get to all semester to build out this perfect movie? It's going to be amazing. They get to the end of the semester, they all sit down to watch the movies from each group. And which group do you think created the best movie? It wasn't, getting straight to the point, it wasn't what we'd think, which is the group that had all semester to create this incredible movie. It was the second group. Because through repetition and through failing quickly and through imperfect action, they were able to learn every single week, and then they would create the next movie, and what happened, they'd moved exponentially beyond the other group in terms of skill, in terms of being able to create very, very quickly. And I think that that is the whole game that we're playing here. I'm not saying that we need to rush or be reactive in our work, but what I am saying is that you're probably sitting on a lifetime of potential, and the longer you leave it, the more that you're going to go inwards, and not in a good way, and you're going to start to overthink, and then everything's going to become infinitely more difficult to do. Whereas if we truly want to show up, not even for anybody else, but for ourselves, then we take on a whole different attitude. We say, okay, I'm going to show up consistently no matter what. And this has been part of my journey as well. I'm not going to pretend that I'm ahead of you or whatever. We're all in this thing together. I've known my potential my entire life. And I say that without ego because I also know my insecurities. But the problem is when those insecurities become louder than your potential. You need to turn down the volume on the insecurities and turn up the volume on what you can achieve with your life. But the only way that your mind and the universe will respond in a positive way, and I don't believe in a negative, I believe we're all just getting feedback, but the only way we're going to respond in like, hey, this is really working, is taking imperfect action. Waiting for perfect action is the reason why we're stuck. So for example, about 29 days ago, I started to do daily YouTube again. And it wasn't a conscious decision at the time. I filmed a video, and the next day I thought, I'll film another video, this will be fun. And then the day after that, I filmed another video, and then I started to enjoy the process of creating. I'm not worried about how many views I get, I'm not worried about if any video goes viral, I'm more focused on what value can I add, what can be tangible. I've got a lot that I want to share, and I'm a classic overthinker and I get caught up in my own head too much. But what I've learned is that action alleviates anxiety. And being completely truthful, I've lived in Thailand for almost 3 years. That's not the part being completely truthful, although I have lived in Thailand for almost 3 years. And in 3 years, I think I filmed 7 or maybe just 5, 6 or 7 YouTube videos. And I would meet up with friends. I've got a couple of mentors out here that I meet with quite regularly, and I would say, why is the business not reaching its potential? Like, don't get me wrong, I run a full-time business, I've got clients, I'm happy, but I believe I've only been doing 1% of what my capability is at, and it's been quite frustrating. I've done a lot of healing being here in Thailand. I stopped drinking entirely, not that I really had a problem with drink, but just all these things that were, I knew that weren't really me anymore, they just melted away. I have a great routine, I've got some discipline in my life, and I'm growing my business in a way that makes sense for me. I don't feel like I'm pushing, I'm now in flow. I've got other videos where I talk about this in more detail. But in the process of healing, I then reached a point where I started to see my own bullshit and see my own procrastination. And only this year, I said, okay, well, if you truly know your potential, why are you not just living it? Why are you not showing up every single day? Why are you not doing more? Now, this is where it's a layered answer, because I've done YouTube daily 5 years ago, but I did it from a place of pushing, where it felt like I had to show up and I had to be here. And I actually had a team back in the UK, and we were doing well for a small business. We were bringing in quite a bit of money, but everything was going out the other side. I had offices, I had staff, I had all sorts of bullshit in my own mind. And then it was like, oh, I've got to film another video today. And if you look back at my videos, I haven't deleted them. I've left them all here, despite advice of certain people. And you can hear in the frustration in my voice, you can hear that I'm pushing. Everything needs to happen from a place of flow. So doing this now feels great. But going back to you, if you want to make money in your business, if you want to achieve anything, it's all going to come back to operating from a place of flow. I call it peace and calm. But then knowing that you are answering that what if. What if you do YouTube every single day for the next 365 days? And don't force it, but you just do it. Just show up. Don't worry about perfection. Look at this right now. I'm just sat here in a coffee shop. And before I would say, oh, it's a public place, I can't film. I've got way... And I became quite entitled. I can't film in a public place. I mean, it's just ridiculous. There's fucking nobody here. There's a few people in the coffee shop, and there's a staff over there, but that's it. And there's 1 or 2 people walking past. But they don't care. They're not going to remember me in 30 seconds from now, 5 minutes from now. So why should I be concerned that they're going to judge me filming a video? Nobody actually cares. Everyone's just so caught up in their own world, in their own little bubble and story. They're not worried about what you're doing. Now, this doesn't mean that you walk down the street blatantly, look at me, I'm doing a video, and you're involving people in a video that are not volunteering to be there. But what I'm saying is that you're here because you know your potential, right? You know that you can achieve something. So this is just a quick message to say, what if you just started creating every day from today? And if it's not video, maybe you're writing every day, but getting your message out to the world. Because in terms of what I teach, which is sales and consulting, I always say that your income is a direct reflection of your ability to articulate your expertise. And those that can articulate effectively and create aha moments for their market and for their client, they're the ones who get paid. But the only way to get good at that is to practice this, right? If you practice educating your market, inspiring your market every day, you will quickly learn what works versus what doesn't. Doing YouTube every single day for the last however many days, 28 days or so, I'm learning every day. It's a fascinating exercise just for me. Every day gets that little bit easier and more fun, and I feel like I connect on a more natural level. And when I look back even at my videos 15, 16 days ago, I can see the subtle improvements and changes, and I've developed a format. I've got about 4 or 5 different formats now, and I just work with those. So one of them might be a walk and talk, another one is my whiteboard sessions, another one is to sit down somewhere like this and just have a chat with you. And then I've got my sit down videos at my desk, and that's kind of it, and that's enough. And I'm measuring not just the views, but also how many get comments, and when I watch them back, I'm constantly analysing, like an athlete does. They review their last game. So I wanted to share this with you today because I believe you've got untapped potential. I believe that action does alleviate anxiety. I've been stuck in my head far too long for far too many years. And there goes that truck, by the way, that I talked about at the beginning of the video. I don't know if you've heard, it's been there the whole time. And I think that right now you're probably just waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity. And the universe just doesn't work that way. This is a being and a doing universe. So yes, you need to be and only come from a place of who you are on the deepest level. That's where I went wrong before. It was all doing and pushing and forcing things to work. But it is a being and a doing universe. So once you're in that place of being, you're calm, then you do the work. And sometimes you've got to do the work to return to your calm as well. When you combine all that together, you get to have whatever you want, because things start to show up, things start to happen. And even doing these videos and getting 100, 200 views this last 28 days has reactivated my community. So by the way, if you're not in my community, click below, you can join there. It's reactivated my community. I've had not a ton of inquiries, but I've had about, I need to double check my numbers. I've had around about 8 or 9 inquiries directly from YouTube, which is great. They want to be part of my group consulting program because they can see the potential for their own business. But the funny thing is we ignore all this and we just look at the metrics that don't really matter. Am I getting views on my video? Well, that can come later. But even with 100, 200 views, as long as you're practicing, then you can show up for your market. And yeah, who knows? Some great doors might open along the way. That's it for today. Simple message. Let me know your thoughts below, and I'll see you tomorrow.